For many years and many seasons of my life, I've walked through changes that shaped me into who I am today. Each chapter, even the difficult ones, taught me how to prepare for this moment. Over time, my product line found its true form. My brand settled into its own heartbeat. My first book was published, with a new edition coming soon. My paintings, my photography, the countless details woven through my website and social media, all of it has been quiet preparation for what I am beginning here today. For almost 2 decades, I've carried a dream to read my fantasy novels along with legends, myths, and fairy stories so people could unwind from the noise and the chaos of this world. I hoped children whose parents are busy could join me for story time, and that grown children who still long for a calm link to our past could find comfort here too. My soul is from Scotland, though I've been away for many human generations. My accent is gone, and the language nearly slipped from me. Scots Gaelic was once repressed to quiet the Highland spirit, and in my own life it fell into disuse as well. But I'm remembering. Every day a little more returns, a phrase here, a word there, and you'll hear them in my videos and see them in my writing. They connect me to home, to my heart, and to my people. Just as the forests, mountains, lakes, rivers, and sea roads call me home, so do the stories of old, and the stories that live in my ancient soul. And that brings me to the story behind Solas Beatha, or Scots Gaelic for light of life. There was a time when everything felt heavy. I was carrying more than my heart knew how to hold. In the middle of that sorrow, I had a vivid dream. A great bear and her cub walked across the night sky, glowing with deep, swirling rainbows. I didn't understand it then. I only knew it gave me hope, a promise that my sorrow wouldn't last forever. Years passed. I worked tirelessly to heal. I rebuilt. During this season, I continued to add to my fantasy world that fills my first fantasy novel, and prepared outlines for many more. It was a lifeline for myself. It reminded me that imagination and creativity are powerful healers. I love wandering through the woods, taking photographs and wildcrafting during the late spring snowstorm in Colorado many years ago. My lilac trees were bending dangerously low, covered in heavy wet snow. Inspiration from one of my best friends helped me to see a silver lining. Lilac blooms would make beautiful soap. So I went to work, gathering all the lilacs and drying them on every free cookie sheet in the house and every square inch of counter space. Within a short time, I found the most gorgeous lilac scent for making cold processed soap. It was like putting your face into a fresh bouquet of spring lilacs. Later, I realized that lilac paired nicely with elderberry to make flavorful blended teas, great for supporting the immune system, and they were delicious. From then on, I have crafted tea blends, created beautiful smelling artisan soaps, and formulated one of the most versatile salves to bring comfort to those in pain. And then I shared them all with you. On the night of May 10th to 11th, 2024, everything shifted. A historic G5 solar storm swept across the sky. I stepped outside expecting a faint shimmer. Instead, the heavens erupted. Rainbows spiraled across the entire dome of the sky. Red, green, violet, gold, shifting, changing, and moving faster than I could photograph. I used my Nikon and my iPhone, back and forth between the two literally for hours. The pace of the stunning waterfall of lights grew until the whole sky was rolling as if pouring from the top of the world through the most magnificent corona. Reds, yellows, greens, blues, and literally every color of the rainbow. Literally every color of the rainbow. I filmed above me and then all around from horizon to horizon. It was so magnificent, it brought tears of gratitude to be able to experience such majesty. I laughed and thanked heaven for the most glorious gift. It got so late, or early in the morning, and I was exhausted but didn't want to miss the shift or a color change. After 3 to 4 hours, I was dizzy from spinning to catch the next dazzling spectacle. My neck hurt from looking up for hours, and I knew it was time to pull myself away. The next morning, as I looked through my photos, I saw something that I never imagined. High above the auroras, shining through the colors, were Ursa Major and Ursa Minor, clearly and unmistakable, the great bear and her cub, exactly as I had dreamed them years before, but didn't understand. The dream had been real. Not until that moment did I understand what I saw in my dream. A great bear and her cub walking across a rainbow sky. I thought of auroras as green shimmers, not exciting explosions of rainbow color light. I couldn't have imagined it or put it together until I experienced it, and then saw the constellations shining through the colors. One thing this dream showed me is that magic and wonder would return in my life. Life would get better. To keep going, keep believing, know that just as the darkest nights feel they will last forever, they don't. Hold on. In that moment when ugly crying is all you have left, remember, it's then when letting hope glimmer inside of you is what helps you go on. And life doesn't just magically get better, not even with magical dreams. It took another year of serious healing work before I understood the final piece. The dream wasn't just for comfort. It was calling me, inspiring me to dreams that life almost crushed out of me. During this healing, I continued to share my peaceful, delicious, luxurious products, hoping to inspire slowness and connection to wonder, peace, and healing to others, as these products had helped me too. I was also continuing to write and draw. That was more difficult, but many ideas were formulating, and outlines for chapters and series of fantasy novels and fairy tales grew into deeper, more complicated and interesting combination of characters, creatures, and worlds. I was able to finally draw a map, a gorgeous entire world with many continents, climates, populations of unique people and creatures. It was beautiful and spurred my ideas for these worlds and how they intersected and interplayed as a whole. As everything grew together as a brand, not just of fantasy novels, fairy tales, and paintings, or apothecary and luxurious spa gifts, or photography and photo merchandise, but a brand encompassing the whole, all of my offerings. And when I began designing this brand, even though I was close and thought it was beautiful, Celtic with ambiance and nuance that connected everyone, it just didn't feel right. It didn't feel right until I remembered that night, the auroras, the bears, the colors that wrapped around the night sky like a blessing. So I scrapped everything and began again. It reminds me of a poem by Rudyard Kipling entitled If, when he speaks of rebuilding with worn-out tools. I was tired. I'd built myself up from the ashes too many times, but the Aurora palette, the Scots Gaelic name, Solas Beatha, light of life, the feeling something or someone bigger than me was encouraging me to continue on with my journey, to share comfort, beauty, and wonder with others. Even when I hadn't fully found it for myself. Yes, I can do that. So after working and reworking it, and the logo was finished, I called my parents to share it. As I was speaking with them, I felt a little thrill because I realized I was living the final scene of the dream, sitting in a cozy space, looking at rainbow skies, sharing the magic with my mom and dad. The dream had been fulfilled in every detail and beyond my expectation. Today, Solas Beatha is more than just an apothecary. It's the weaving back together of a life. It's the return of light after darkness. It is the reminder that beauty comes back, sometimes in colors we never imagined. And now I'm beginning a new chapter, reading stories for you, some of the most important references in classic literature. To begin with, we're going to talk about Greek and Roman mythology. Reading selections from these works first will help classic literature come alive for you. So we will begin with Greek and Roman mythology, and between these great works, we'll add fairy tales, epic tales, and stories filled with wonder. This year and next, I'll be reading from Thomas Bulfinch's Mythology, The Age of Fable. Select British myths and legends, including a heavy dose of Scottish fairy stories, myths and legends, The Princess and the Goblin, and maybe more of George MacDonald's fairy stories. My own novel later this summer. King Arthur, as much from the Winchester manuscript as possible to reach back through time and understand better the people who wrote about Arthur, and maybe even get glimpses of those epic legends connected to him. You may hear lines from Sir Walter Scott's The Lady of the Lake, a whisper of Highland poetry carried in the wind. Welcome to Solas Beatha. Welcome to Light of Life. Welcome to the stories that bring us home.